Now,
Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the Great Legend, and I'm coming at you live. And tonight is the night the Comic-Core is back on the rails. We got my co-host down below, Miss Kat Wren. How are you this evening?
I'm good. It's
and right
Friday.
next to you, who's the superstar right next to you?
I got some BKR behind the bar.
Hi, guys.
BKR is ready, and he's going to have a lot of things to say and a lot of things to eat tonight. And then over here up in the left corner is my main man, Comic-Core Chad, coming at us live. What's up, Chad?
what's happening, guys? Just chilling like a villain and ready to talk some comics and hang out with the crew.
Hell yeah. And Chad, by the way, I got to say, man, the Kingdom Come Alex Ross style background, dude. Damn, I see Hal Jordan back there. Man,
we got Perry lurking. We've got Perry in the chat already lurking. What's going on, Perry? We got Comic Man Andy. We've got Midwest Comic Man in the chat. We've got Scott Evans in the chat. And oh my God, I wonder if he's okay. There's no Chris Barrett.
Hey,
where's Chris Barrett?
Chris Barrett.
Hey, Perry, if you're lurking out there, Perry, find Chris Barrett and tell him to get in the Comic-Core chat tonight.
And we also got Scrap Pads Comic Treks. Greetings and
what's up?
Felicitations.
What's up, kid?
Dude, good to see Scar Pad tonight, man. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. I mean, did y'all read any good books this week?
I did.
I read a bunch this week. I'm excited.
You take this, Kat.
Kat. What do you read this week? What's cool in your corner?
All right. So, some of the big things that I read this week are Hawkeye Freefall issue 2.
Nice.
Which Linda Carter throws a lot of shade towards, the Avengers and like primarily Tony Stark, which is pretty freaking funny in the issue. And there's the very last page has like a twist ending. You're like, oh wow, all right. But definitely a lot of fun with this. Really, really crazy ride. Really funny throughout. I didn't read it yet, but Fallen Angels issue 6. I'm not reading Fallen Angels. However, this cover is gorgeous.
That does look good. Who's the artist on that thing? That looks great.
Comic Man Andy, you probably know who the artist is behind this, but this is gorgeous.
A beautiful Wolverine hugging on Jean Grey, right?
And and it's in order. It's the 40th anniversary of the Dark Phoenix saga.
Oh, that is so cool. She's wearing the green and yellow costume there.
Yeah.
Looks like she's just coming out of one of those Dark Phoenix rage moments to where she gets back to her normal self, and Logan's trying to offer some support and even give her some back rubs at the same time.
Thor's still going strong. Still some craziness going on there. The art wasn't as strong in this issue for me, but the story's still pretty solid throughout.
And you had that Donny Cates writing issue 2. I mean, so you're in for some fun when Donny Cates is under the gun.
I like that.
Also, Suicide Squad issue 2.
What did you think? I don't know if I'm going back to it. I'll be honest.
I hated issue 1. Issue 2 was not as bad as issue 1. I will tell you, it did have some moments in it that were a little redeemable for me. Fenn and the shark fighting and having to deal with each other. There's literally a moment in here because if you'll remember in issue 1, Shark actually rips in half Fenn's twin brother.
Dang.
Decimates this man's life because that's his world. His brother is his world, and he literally begs for his life before he dies. He begs for his brother to survive, and he still kills him right in front of him. And in this issue, they do actually fight, and he rips out one of Shark's teeth before they're both incapacitated by their own little shot collar type things. But he's actually wearing one of Shark's teeth on his chain. And he's like, oh, so you're saying we're even now because, I took a part of you, you took a part of me. He's like, oh, we're far from even. And he also swears that Shark's going to die the same way his brother did. And he's going to suffer the same way his brother did. So huge shout out to Finn in this issue. There's still a lot of things that I'm kind of like, meh, wah. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. I might pick up issue 3. It's still not nearly as good as previous runs. But my pick of the week.
Oh, hell. Here it is, Chad. What do you think it is?
The thing that I've been super excited about getting for some time now. And it's something that I'm pretty sure no one else on here is really interested about. That is Zombilenium. So I actually ordered the hardcover set.
Oh, my goodness.
Zombilenium. So I got the full run now. I got Zombilenium. This is volumes 1 and 2. I also have 3 and 4 of Zombilenium.
Whoa.
So I've already read 1 and 2 just today, just because it's a pretty quick read, pretty easy read. And basically what happens in this is the idea like witches, vampires, werewolves, demons, zombies. Instead of them all going to hell, they have an option of possibly working at a theme park.
That's like all the people I want to come over for dinner, all those evil people.
And I gotta tell you, it's pretty fantastic so far. I've had a lot of fun here. Here featured on the main cover is Gretchen. She is the witch intern of Zombilenium, which is the actual theme park. There's a whole thing where someone gets hit in the very beginning and accidentally killed by a couple of the actual scare attractors, and they don't want to get in trouble, so they end up signing him on as a worker there. He ends up signing his soul away as he's dying.
Oh my gosh.
And they're fighting over whether or not they want to turn him into a vampire or a werewolf. So he keeps getting bit by both back and forth, and he ends up turning into a demon somehow. And it's pretty crazy. The artwork's pretty fun throughout.
And it's a hardcover. They're all hardcovers.
Oh, yeah. All these are hardcovers.
Who's the writer of this story?
So this is Arthur Depends. And he is clearly not an American creator. This was just recently revised and published in English a few years ago, I guess. And it's been primarily like a online style thing, but I know there's a movie that just came out like the end of last year based on this.
That is so cool. It kind of reminds me of, how you said it was written in a different language. It kind of reminds me of, say, like Black Sad, where it's like a noir series with the cats and the animals, but that was written by a Spanish author named Juan Diaz. But that's so cool. I mean, you can take a look at like different books from, not only in America, but elsewhere, and you can, hopefully they'll put them in English, and then everyone can read. Well, folks that only speak English could read them. That's pretty awesome. That was your pick of the week. All those bad boy hardbacks, huh?
Oh yeah.
And it's got some beautiful artwork in there. Oh, there's a demon in there. So very cool. I mean, I like the artwork. I like the monsters and ghosts and stuff in it.
That is Alurian's demon form.
Dang.
He turns into that whenever he's mad.
He's got real long horns, big old wings. He's ready to creep on a bunch of things.
he kind of just becomes like the mascot of this failing theme park. And like, you know, Lucifer likes him because he looks like him. And it's them like
damn
sales and, you know, talking about they get all these crazy letters from teenage girls who want to get turned into vampires.
Oh yeah.
And they're like they're literally cursing the Twilight books in this. So you know, it's actually a lot of fun.
That would be cool. Well, you know what we do in the shadows. The little guy still wants to become a vampire. His little buddy, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, how about you, Chad? And Cat, kick-ass books, by the way. Oh, we're real quick before I get to Chad. Chad, how's the chat?
Well, we've got JLS is showed up and showing some love, and Comic Man Andy is still going home with Scarpad Comic Treks, and Scott Evans, and he has arrived. Wait a second, let me get a drink for this. I'm sorry, but I got some bad news, Chris Barrett.
Oh man, you know, I'm guessing Perry probably let Chris Barrett know to get over here to the Comico show. Chad, tell me about some of the books that you read this week and the stuff you liked.
Unfortunately, my books are in the other room, and I meant to grab them. But my two books of the week, my good and my bad. So we'll start off with my bad, and that is Justice League. It goes ahead, and it proves to me once again, Mr. Scott Snyder cannot quite finish a story. I didn't realize that it is going to be continuing on, but it kind of ended. I thought that was kind of weird, but then I found out today it's going to be continuing into the return to the metal Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo run that's coming up here, Dark Knight Metal.
Damn.
The one that I really super enjoyed was I'm really, really digging Thor.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
Man. Hell yeah. Well, that's one of Cat's faves.
And I mean, you know, Thor, he decimates in this issue. He decimates the DC universe, which was pretty cool seeing that. But and then we also get a little Beta Ray Bill, so I was digging that aspect. So those are my two picks.
Dude, that is freaking awesome. You know, like, no doubt about it, old Beta Ray Bill, still a humongous fan favorite. Anytime that they can put him in the comics is a good time, and Donny Cates definitely wants to have a good time. The way he's doing the cosmic side of Marvel, man, just taking the whole cosmic world by storm over there at, you know, Marvel. Hey, Mr. Mark BKR, did you read anything tonight, my friend?
I didn't read anything.
Do you want to show your pick, though?
I do have a pick of the week, though.
Give us the pick of the week.
He does have a pick of the week, everyone. And he will be eating, don't worry.
Oh, yes, I will be eating.
So what's your pick of the week, Bev? And tell me a little bit about it.
Katie picked this up to me for me today. It was a invisibility cloak.
Oh, my
Harry
God,
Potter.
that is cool. Holy hell.
Yeah,
Hey, Mark, check this out, man. I got an invisibility cup.
Dang. Oh, my God.
That's amazing.
Dude, I tell you what, man. Looking good in the neighborhood. I'm talking Invisible Man, Claude Rains, Universal Pictures right there.
But I didn't know it when I actually bought this for him. But it's actually a green screen as well as a cloak.
Oh, so oh my God, okay.
So,
that is so
the way
cool.
that makes it an invisibility cloak, like it is the invisibility cloak, it is the actual cloak, but it's green screen material on the other side.
Yeah. So when you
drape
that over you in front and have the green screen filter on, he's gonna turn invisible.
There's an app or something you can download.
Well, you don't even need to use an app. You just need to use a green screen.
Or OBS or whatever.
Same thing.
Yeah. But yeah.
Chad figured out the gimmick where in StreamYard you can turn on OBS through the camera options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so
Mark,
cool.
You want to tell me you're going to be eating tonight?
I'm going to be eating Pringles.
Pringles!
So
Mega Stack.
Pringles Mega Stacked Original, aka the best flavor.
You do love your original. I'm more of a sour cream. Chad, what was your favorite can of Pringles growing up?
Sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
I thought
No
about
doubt
sour
about it,
cream.
Cat. The green can wins.
No.
You know, I thought about picking one up.
Now, like,
Green
if
can.
it was like Lay's,
Split
I
up.
like Lay's original.
Anyway.
I really do like
Anyway,
Lay's
you're gonna
original.
Lay's originals are pretty good.
But
We're at
Utz, I think it's Utz, right? Utz.
Utz, butts, no coconuts.
UTZ. I'm a big salt and vinegar, and then Martin's.
Oh yeah, UTZ, man, better than yeah, good stuff. I love that stuff. How about you?
We're also taste testing a potential episode for BKR Behind the Bar tonight.
With a little bit of some food. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, I think we're trying it out.
Hey, we got an update from the Drew Manchu comic review. He says,
yeah.
"I'm on my way," but I also we didn't know who was going to be able to be on tonight. We started getting a little nervous, so we threw up the signal.
The bat signal. The Comic Core signal went loud. It went proud. It was bright. It was vibrant. And Chad, who answered our call?
Well, it's a surprise. He hasn't gotten here yet, so there's going to be somebody going to be joining us.
Dude,
But
that is going to be so cool.
we got Two Brothers Comics in the
I'm supposed
chat
to be in here.
as well, and
Hey, I'll take a drink for this. The Mastodon. Man, good to see Donnie in the house. Well, before the king of the filibusters comes through, a.k.a. our main man, Drew Manchu, let me go on and tell you about my books that I had and that I read and I review. Man, let me tell you, one of the greatest things was I was able, Farmhand 13 came out. I was able to get caught up on issue 11, issue 12, issue 13 of Farmhand by Rob Guillory. He's still kicking that ass. I mean, it's a great story. If you're not reading Farmhand by Image, give it a try. You know what I mean? It may not be everyone's cup of tea. It may not have a lot of first appearances, but if you want some really cool artwork, he also did art on the book called Chew for Image. But if you want a great story and just great artwork and a lot of fun, a lot of mystery, and you're just asking yourself all these questions, and then Rob Guillory's telling you the answers, make sure you check that out. And then I got another book that I was going to tell you about. It's all about Green Lantern Black Stars. You got part 3 of that, and that was the final part of the Black Star storyline, which was kind of a little interlude into what will be Green Lantern Season 2 by Grant Morrison. And like I predicted, there is one of those swerves, bro. There's a swerve. There's a freaking swerve, bro. And, man, it was so cool, man. It was like Grant Morrison and Hal Jordan were two minds thinking alike. They pulled a fast one on the Elizabeth or whatever, the vampire chick, and they were totally on a different freaking multiverse. So that was cool, and I knew it was going to be a swerve in there somewhere, either dream scene or whatever, but some different reality. And then I went back in time on the rewind and read the Before Watchmen Night Owl story by Straczynski and good old Andy Kubert, and it was phenomenal. I love Night Owl's character because, of course, the original Night Owl that Alan Moore created is based off of the Ted Kord Blue Beetle. Freaking loved it. Love Night Owl and how he uses his gadgets to help others in need. Just like you can help others in need by donating to the Hero Initiative, heroinitiative.org. Help those comic book creators in need. And speaking of fellow comic book creators, our special guest is here, none other than Rob Posse Pacek. What's up?
Yeah,
Who created X-Life Fields?
Posse, we've missed you.
Horror, man. Rob Posse is back.
What is going on, everybody?
Dude, it's great to see you, man. It's a 4-pack challenge tonight.
Hello, player.
Damn, Rob, man. I know you personally. I've been reading you on Facebook. I've been reading you real good on your post, and I know you've been doing a lot of. Well, you're finished up work on something that you've been writing. But before we go into what you've been writing, what have you been reading this week? Have you had any time to read anything?
That's a great question. I recently did.
Oh, a little microphone feedback.
Am I?
No. See, God, this is what we were talking about earlier. That's what happened to you.
Try to unplug it and replug.
It's just a simple USB gimmick, but plug it in, plug it back in. Sometimes leave it, come back. That sounds pretty good.
It's still coming in. Let me see if it's on my end. I'll leave. Oh, no, that was him. Device
Okay.
connected.
So he's in a connect back in, but
hey, you know what, Rob? Let me give a shout out to. You
want to give a shout out to Scott Evans? Wants to give a shout out to Megatron.
No, Rob's back. Yeah, you're good now, buddy.
I'm good.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right.
What have you been reading this week, Posse?
So I actually haven't been to the comic shop yet this week, but the last couple things that I did read, I've been keeping up with the Jonathan Hickman X-Men run.
Excellent.
I'm actually super excited about the Wolverine book coming up by Adam Kubert, Victor Bogdanovich. That one's also who's writing that? I'm not even sure who's writing that one.
The new Wolverine. Shoot, I know. I'm not reading Wolverine, but I bet you Drew would know when he gets here. He loves him some Marvel.
Right.
I'm wearing my Marvel shirt for Drew tonight.
See, I'm wearing my Superman pop vinyl shirt.
Nice. Well, I know all of us on the panel. We all love our DC. Shoot, yeah.
So obviously, I had a much different opinion about Doomsday Clock than Drew did. However, I was kind of bored with the ending by the time it actually finally happened. I don't know. What have I been reading? Man, I didn't pick up a lot. So yeah, I guess I came a little bit late to the party, but I did catch all 5 episodes of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and just watched the Arrow series finale.
Oh man, I was bawling a little bit.
They hit some of those heartstrings, and I just watched the 2nd episode of Picard as well. Nice. And if you guys aren't watching that, it is totally worth the price of admission.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I mean, any fan, I think all of us grew up watching old Next Generation. I mean, you got to watch some Picard,
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And also on CBS All Access, if you haven't watched The Twilight Zone from Jordan Peele, it is excellent.
What is it called?
The Twilight Zone.
I heard that. It's really good.
Yeah, it uses the old formula of having actual stars in each of the episodes, so it kind of keeps you guessing what's going to happen to them and everything as it goes on. But I didn't think anybody'd be able to take on the Rod Serling role, but Jordan Peele does it extremely well.
See, that's good because, man, I mean, Rod, he was doing it like it was hot back in the day. I still remember him as Rod Sterling. But that's one of those Mandela effects for a different How about you, Catherine? What have you watched any cool shows?
So I'm not trying to break up the conversation here, but I wanted to have a huge shout out to that chat because the guy who we were missing, the guy who we were questioning about, the guy who we sent Perry Comics out to go find is
Fish
here.
Tropic? Is it Fish Tropic?
I thought it was Chris Barrett, but yes, Fish Tropic is here as well. Chris Barrett, Fish Tropic. Chris Barrett, we missed you. It was a weird situation without you here.
Hey,
Fish
Chris.
Tropic, you are amazing. You beautiful individual that you are.
Oh,
I'm glad you're ready, Chris.
Fish Tropic, I mean, you listen to Fish Tropic on the microphone, he drops it like it's hot because he knows he knows what he's got, and he's got a lot of kick-ass fish tanks and aquariums. So if you're interested in raising fish, live breeders, whatever, he'll show you what you need, and it's freaking awesome. What do you think, Chad?
Well, I do want to ask Rob a question since he is a writer and a creator. And also, more importantly, he's a fan, right?
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
So, Drew, we'll get to you here in a minute, buddy.
All right, get to me when you get to me.
Oh, damn!
But I got a question, and this was a discussion at the LCS today. That they have a feeling that this writer is going to have a monster 2020, and I am now intrigued about him. His name is Ram V.
Ram V, man, that's cool. What kind of books is he going to be writing?
So
I like the Ram V.
He's taking over Justice League.
I'm sure you do.
Dark.
Sure, you ram a lot of V. There you go.
Taking over for Justice League Dark. Of course, Ram V's done The Black Mamba, Brigands, Ruin of Thieves, 24 panels, Paradise Graffiti's Wall. I mean, and he just did a, what was that book? He did Justice League Dark's Annual, you know?
Yeah, and he's taking over Justice League.
Snyder, or from Snyder?
Justice League Dark number 20.
Okay, it's Dark.
It's a new arc. It's co-plotted with James the Fourth,
Tinian,
Onion the Boss,
and Cal Holtz. But it's kind of cool because he's going to be bringing Animal Man to the fold.
Good. Okay, so I still read Justice League Dark. I'm kind of far behind on it. Potsy, are you a big fan of old Buddy Baker?
You know, it's funny because I like some of Grant Morrison's stuff and I dislike some of Grant Morrison's stuff. Mm-hmm. So it makes it very difficult. But I did actually like Animal Man when he was doing it. I kind of like how they let him pretty much do what he wanted with that series. Mm-hmm. So I've always kind of felt that the character probably needed to find his way back into DC proper.
But the one thing that I got to give a credit to this Ram V is he actually went to the I guess is the LCS has their own like somewhat summit. It's like a creator summit. I think it's in.
Is it the Diamond Retailer Summit?
No,
more for the
it's
alone.
Comics Pro.
Comics Pro. Okay.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, he actually wasn't on the panel. He flew out to talk to the LCSs, and he had a book at the time. I can't. I think it was.
Oh my God!
Graffiti.
Only Mark right there. Sorry, fans. This guy got his damn hand stuck in the Pringles jar again. All right, sorry, Chad. Sorry.
No, the Savage Shores and Gravity Fall, and I heard they were great. I'm gonna check. I think I'm gonna go pick them up tomorrow just to see what everybody's hyping them up on.
Kind of wet your whistle before you dive into his Justice League Dark story arc. Classic.
So now let's bring him on. The filibuster himself. The Drew Man too.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I read some Animal Man. And the first Animal Man that I read was the Jeff Lemire New 52 Animal Man.
Damn good, I thought.
I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if I would enjoy Animal Man in any other context because I haven't taken the opportunity to. But hey, man, I thought that was a pretty good run. If you're looking for something off the wall, check that out. Are we still doing picks of the week, guys?
Yeah. We're still doing that. We haven't done the topic shit.
I tell you what, I got a couple picks of the week for you guys. Jesus Saez, and Charles Soule on the new run of Star Wars.
Okay.
Really fun stuff. I'm enjoying Lando being Lando.
Issue
I thought
3
that was really good.
Issue 3 possible hand and lightsaber reveal for how did that big girl with the goggles get that saber?
You never know. One thing that I did really enjoy was Suicide Squad number 2. But I also really enjoyed number 1. I think this is the best that Suicide Squad has ever been. And I'm not a Suicide Squad fan.
Nope.
So that is what it is. Say no one. Tom Taylor is writing the best squad we've ever seen.
I do like Tom Taylor. I haven't read it.
Yeah. You know who else is writing a really great story right now? Look, some people might not know, but I know that Cat Run Figures is a big Hawkeye fan. And this right here, Hawkeye Freefall.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Rosenberg is killing it on this book. Really, really great quippy dialogue, intriguing story that I want to know where it goes. That's everything you want out of a comic, really.
I want to know, is that Mylar 2 mil?
Yeah, you got 2 mil. You got 2 mil Mylar. 2 mil Mylar.
That stuff.
And right here, this is Avengers of the Wasteland. And I want to talk about it for just a minute.
That's an Ed Brisson book.
It is an Ed Brisson book. It is the sequel to Dead Man Logan, which was the sequel to Old Man Logan. This is the Old Man Logan universe after he's dead.
Oh, wow.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, what a great concept.
I love that kind of stuff.
What a terrible execution. I do not recommend this book. If you were reading Old Man Logan and then read Dead Man Logan and you just need more of that, this is not the book for you. This is not the book for you.
Yeah,
This is not the book for you. 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 This is not the book for you this will scratch that itch, but it's not what I wanted it to be. But you know, to each their own. My favorite book of the week, though, X-Men number 5. And it's for one panel and one panel only. You guys know I've been loving all of the X-Men stuff. I've been really, really into everything since, honestly, since Rosenberg relaunched Uncanny and they did the X-Men Disassembled into the Age of X-Men. I really enjoyed all of that. But I'm a sucker for this Hickman stuff. And in this book, well, kind of the worst book out of the bunch has been Fallen Angels. And I think that that's like a Psylocke book that has really had X-23 Laura Kinney in it, but hasn't really celebrated her, kind of put her in a position where she was, you know, not the number one Wolverine, where she was less than. And if you've been reading All New Wolverine or the X-23 series by itself, you know how strong and confident she's become as a character in her own right. And she's kind of taken a back seat. But finally, in this book, they're sending Synch and Darwin and X-23 into this mission, right? And Darwin's going because his adaptability. Synch is going because he can mimic Darwin's adaptability. X-23 is going because, like Wolverine, and she says, actually, I am Wolverine.
Ooh, nice. See, that's
so
what I'm talking about.
With one panel, she gets that confidence back. And Logan just says, "You tell him, kiddo."
Yeah,
he's behind her 110%. He doesn't need to be Wolverine, but she needs to be Wolverine, and she gets that. Dude, she gets that confidence back in one panel. She's just like Wolverine, I am Wolverine. And that's why this is my pick of the week.
You go, kiddo.
Sure. Not to mention it had like a bunch of really great covers too.
Now, Drew, do you know who's writing the Wolverine or who's writing the Wolverine comic?
I do not know who picked up the Wolverine as the new ongoing Wolverine. I don't know who's writing that.
Because Potsy wants to know, but I bet with y'all are going to pick that book up most likely. So that's very cool. And there's Drew showing some more of those cool X-Men covers.
Oh, I picked that up too, but it's already been sorted and put back away.
Drew, do you know the cover artist?
That was really great.
Who's the cover artist on that Wolverine hugging the Jean Grey Phoenix?
I don't remember. I remember seeing
the chat up top.
Yeah, I remember seeing. For some reason, the chat is not popping up for me. I got private chat access.
Well, I know you say you don't remember, but I don't think Rick Remender even did art.
No, not remember. I don't remember, nor is it Remender.
This is gorgeous.
It is good looking cover.
This is like one of those books that you're like, do you slab? Do you not slab?
Oh, I know those guys.
You know who slabs? I know somebody that slabs. Comics Misexplained is in the chat with Thunderhouse Design.
What's up, THD? Thunderhouse Design.
Ben Percy, he said Thunderhouse Design dropped Ben Percy. He's the guy who's writing X-Force right now. Okay. He will be writing the Wolverine series.
All right, Ben Percy in the house.
Which, dude, I already talked about X-Men as my pick of the week, but if you guys read X-Force this week, Beast is a stone cold killer.
Oh, yeah.
What a gangster that dude is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Everybody remembers Beast as the guy who quotes, Shakespeare and Dostoevsky while he's, hopping around and disarming security systems. But, man, when he's leading that team, he is bloodthirsty and he is a man on a mission.
And I thought when I quoted Back to the Future, I was pretty cool. But damn, Hank McCoy, man, he's the man or the Beast.
Okay.
Stars and garters.
Scott Evans is saying that Fallen Angels cover is a Jung Young Hyun. Did I say that correctly?
That
cover
hung very well. I don't know.
I know I butcher names. I butcher names completely. I wish Spidey Fan was here.
Chad Jr.
He always fixes everything that I say, and he's like, "No, it's actually pronounced this way." I'm like, "Thank you, Spidey Fan." He always corrects me, but it's Hyung Jun I don't. I'm not even
Just
going to attempt that again.
Stop
Anywho, we're going to put it right there. Someone's going to click it who's actually logged in, because I'm not logged into
I'm not
the main
logged in either, man.
Legend, please click that comment from Scott Evans and get that up there.
Let me see. Where is old Scott Evans' comment?
It's right there. It's right above my comment.
It's Young Jung-un. Young
Jung-un.
Young Jung-un.
I don't know.
How far back was it? My chat's not loaded.
It's literally
Yeah,
like
the chat is screwing up for streaming.
I got close enough, cat. I got sure. I got
Love
hate
that.
cat. I'm not going to go through all this stuff. We believe you, cat. Just
right above that is Scott
young
Evans.
Hung, man, it's all good. Hey, so let me find out real quick. Now, we did have. Hey, we got issues. We got issues. Is in the house.
Yeah, we do. What's up? What's up?
What is up? We got issues, man. We had a lot of good issues this week. We talked about some things that we've read. And I want to know tonight, Cat Wren, you've got a kick-ass topic tonight. I want you to tell us about that topic.
All right. So this topic originated from a comment that I got, just a kind of a shitty comment that I got on a review that I did on a book. So I mean, huge shout out to the fact that I am a Hawkeye fan. So I did a review of Hawkeye Freefall issue 1 a few weeks ago. And I had someone who commented on my review that asked how many issues of Hawkeye I had. So every now and then I'll have like people that are comment that are like trying to buy certain books off me or something, which I don't really sell my books. And they're like, how many issues of Hawkeye you have? And I was like, of this issue? ? And I said 2 variants. I said just 2 variants. So then I had someone respond to that comment, and they typed out this very long message basically saying that I wasn't the biggest fan of Hawkeye, and this huge, just really kind of an asshole statement of him just going through like, oh, well, I'm a real fan. I have this, and this issue of Hawkeye. And he's like, that's not quite a collection of Hawkeye. And it was basically just like the full publication of Hawkeye throughout the generations. And at the very end, he threw out some shade towards the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye, which everyone loves the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye, which, dude, shame on you for not loving that run, because that run's freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. So I responded, and I thought I responded pretty well. And I basically said, like, first off, read the full response comment before you respond to it, which this wasn't even the original person. And I was like, I said, of that issue, that is by no means my full collection of Hawkeye, but thank you for the publication history.
Guy just thought you had two.
He literally thought I just had 2 issues of that one book, and was kind of throwing some shade my way for just having that one copy of that one book. And
maybe
I wasn't
you.
a real fan of Hawkeye for that.
I'm one of them 12 sisters.
I did actually. It just kind of it put a bad taste in my mouth, and I talked about it a little bit in the chat, and some stuff happened. But
yeah, read that next comment, Kat.
Yeah, we did. We definitely dealt with that individual. But I gotta say, my thing is just how certain people treat new collectors and people they think are new collectors in the world of comics. So let's say hypothetically that is the first ever comic that I've ever picked up in my entire life. First ever comic I've ever actually read through and through. And let's say for some reason it just really resonated with me, and 100% Hawkeye is my dude now. I am a Hawkeye fan through and through now, and it's all about the Hawkeye, and I just wanted to share that love of Hawkeye now. How dare someone go out and say, well, you don't have this, this, and this, so clearly you're not a fan of Hawkeye. Here's my thing. As a fan of comics in general, That was a huge thing that I got attacked by when I first started getting back into comics. Because when I went into a comic shop that I wasn't familiar with, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, what are you interested in?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I like Starfire because that's what I grew up with the Teen Titans, the mid 2000s run was Starfire in the show." And
Slade.
I knew character. I knew Deathstroke, I knew Robin, I knew the Titans as a whole, And there was a lot of, "Oh, well, do you have this run of such character? Do you have these individual issues?" No, dude. No starting collector has those. And if they do, they have a shit ton of money. I'm sorry for cursing.
Yeah.
But
Chris Perry, you're totally right.
Seriously, why do people have to hate on someone who is getting interested in something? Why do you have to be like, "Oh, well, clearly you are not a real fan. Clearly you do not have this issue. You do not have..." Dude, chill the fuck out. Sorry for cursing again, but chill out and be like, "Hey, if you're new to collecting, this is my favorite run of Hawkeye. This is my favorite writer of Hawkeye. I loved it when he was doing this. I loved it when he was teamed up with Mockingbird. I loved this. I loved that." Why not talk about that?
Hey,
Why
Kat.
do you have to shut someone else down and say like, "Hey, I'm a bigger fan of Hawkeye than you. I'm better than you"? Why do you have to do that? Why?
It's a gatekeeper mentality.
What's that?
My question there, Kat, is: do you think that that's because you were just a new reader, or do you think that that's because you were a female new reader?
I get a lot of shit for being a female and reading comics. That's a whole different discussion.
A whole episode.
You don't want to get started on that one. Trust me, it's a whole different video if you really want to go down that rabbit
We got
hole.
Philip up real quick if you want to go on that topic.
Dude, I have footage of me being hated on at different shops and everything for me being a female in comic shops where they honestly didn't even want to serve me. They wanted to talk to him about comics when we went into comic shops throughout, where I went to discuss about books that were on the wall, and they only wanted to serve him because clearly, since he's the guy, he has to be the reader. And he's like, "Actually, I'm just here for her." And he's like, "No." He's like, "It's not funny, dude. Seriously, though." And it's like, no, she actually is interested in looking at your books. And like I've had all sorts of like very inappropriate interactions with comic shop owners and workers just because I'm a female wanting to talk about comics or wanting to look at certain books. That's a whole different discussion right there.
Yeah, and Jack Yo brings up a comment. He says the comic gators absolutely cannot stand the female readers.
I don't think it's the comics gators solo on that. I think that honestly, I mean, I don't want to throw any shade at anybody who is listening to us talk right now, who is watching us on YouTube, or who reads comics regularly. You are my people. I want you to know that 100%. Right now. You're my people. But I think that a lot of us would read a whole lot less comics if we knew how to talk to girls in the first place. I don't want that to be an insult to anybody, but it's just kind of how it rolls, right?
How many times have you been in a store and say like somebody does walk in and like you see it's kind of like a bunch of people they automatically look if their shoes are untied. They go straight down to the floor.
Yeah. And you know what? I think I have a different perspective on the whole female readership thing, as in like one of my good friends who was the manager at one of my LCSs is a female and would constantly recommend reads to the point, she reads the books, she works there. She has to know what's going on. Wasn't necessarily into the same kind of books I was, but would always open my eyes to new experiences through new stories. But down to the original topic at hand is, I've been guilty of this before, being a gatekeeper for a fandom, right? You feel like something means so much to you that you want to be the expert on it, right? And you can't be an expert on everything, but there are certain things that you find that you love, that you immerse yourself in, that you consider yourself an expert on.
We can't all be winners, can we?
We can't all be winners, but what we can do is we can expand fandoms by not being gatekeepers, by seeing somebody who you might think, hey, doesn't know enough about Hawkeye, right? And then exchange information with them on a story about Hawkeye that you really enjoyed that you think they might not know, right? So like, hey, this guy said, oh, I didn't like the Fraction run. Maybe he could have said to you, I suggest you check out this, this, and this if you haven't yet. And that's a completely different way of addressing the exact same assumption that you don't know enough about the character.
Exactly.
And there's a way to go about it, right?
Yeah, that's a very retail, like good retail is like that, where it might not be your cup of tea, but you're able to sit there and say, well, that's not really my thing, but I understand why other people do really like it. Like I can sit there and say that I absolutely do not read any Brian Michael Bendis books, right? And the reason why is because every time I seem to pick it up, I feel like nothing happens. But then somebody comes up to me and they say, yeah, but did you check out Jinx, or did you check out the early run of Daredevil? And yeah, I did. And actually I found those very good. I feel like he spread himself too thin and all of a sudden became a really good idea guy and not much of a substance guy. And because of that, I don't really find his stuff good. But if you're sitting there wanting a good Superman story, I can sit there and say, well, you really ought to check out the Peter Tomasi stuff. You really ought to check out the Jeff Johns Action Comics with Richard Donner, and actually get some cred back on that instead of just being known as, oh, you're a Bendis hater. And I think we all have those moments. And I go back to Greg Rucka actually saying at a convention one time when a fan said, what happens when a character that you really love and you really want to enjoy just isn't being done by, stories aren't investing you and aren't collecting, you're just not invested in it. And he said, stop reading the book.
Yeah.
Go to something else that does. And he's like, I'm not telling you not to read these books or anything, but in actuality, just stop reading what you don't like, because it's never going to change. And you're never going to get that character back to where you love them if you keep buying the runs by people that you don't care for.
That's true. I got to give a big shout out to the guy that just joined us. He is 1/4 of that Modern Men crew on Monday nights. Piggy's out. Comic Man Andy, how you doing, Andy?
Fancy like that.
I was going to hide in the background and just hang out and help out,
Yeah, behind the scenes, man.
Did you get the topic?
Topic, yeah, we got a topic for Monday.
No, today.
Oh, yeah. How do you feel about our topic for tonight?
He starts for Monday on Friday.
This is an excellent topic.
I got a question though. So the
question.
The question that I have
Big Sage.
kind of more like shades on or shades off.
Oh, okay, Tomasi. You want to keep them on?
Shades on.
I'll tell you, my mom watches on the Rewind, and she asked me the other day why you wore shades all the time, and I said,
I can.
Chad's cool like that, and she said, and I quote, "I'd like to see his eyes sometime."
Oh, all right. I think. Well,
we got.
That's how we get the spin-off show. My new dad, Chad.
Copa.
So we got Discovery Bay in the chat. We
BBC.
Mama Bear figures.
Comic Andy's here. William Bird. Jeez.
Bird.
Connor J. O'Hara.
Connor, what's up, buddy?
Damn, an old baseball player from another mother.
And Brent has hard. But here's my question. And it's going to be directed at Rob. Rob, so have you ever gotten negative feedback from from a book that you created?
Yes. In fact, it's funny. The publisher for Junior High Horrors, he'll probably end up watching this, so I'll try to be really nice about it. But every single thing that he did not like about the book, I absolutely was waiting for, like, oh, there's not a lot of substance in the first issue. Oh, you didn't make it a single issue story. So like now people have to pick up the second one to get that whole story, or man, you put three splash pages in there and it's, a kid's book. And then there was one guy on YouTube, and I don't remember what his name was because he only had like 62 hits on the video. And this is why people tell you that when you're creating something, you never want to listen to, you never want to look at the reviews or anything like that. And it's because everything my publisher said, this guy said. But you guys have all read Junior High Horrors, so know that it's parody. This guy was basically like, I don't understand why they're making fun of Jason Voorhees or why they're making fun of, and it's like,
because that's the point.
Well, maybe don't pick up a joke book with Jason Voorhees on the cover.
All kids,
if you don't want to hear jokes about Jason Voorhees.
We all made jokes in junior high about those crazy characters. You know how they're going to come over and kill Kat's mom with a machete or something.
What?
Only to be saved by Chad's eyes.
Sorry about that.
Anywho,
sorry.
As someone who did review your book, just look at the Catherine Figures review of Junior High Horrors, and you will know that the Figures family loved it.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, when you talk about reviews, right? And people say don't read your reviews of your own creativity.
I want him to finish it because I got one. Drew, I know exactly where you're heading, and you need to ask that question. But Rob, did you comment?
No, I did not. Again, I even kept all that information to myself, and I guess my comment by not commenting happened because I didn't put out that I like if it was a glowing review, I probably would have reposted it, shared it, whatever. And because it wasn't, I just didn't say anything and kind of left it alone. Did I want to? Yeah, my personality is the kind where I want to sit there and go, that's parody, bro. And just kind of do that. But it's one of those things where if I had done it for him, I kind of felt like I would have to give a rub to everybody, and the only person that I gave a rub to on this was Kat. So
Kat's pretty cool. Hey, I got a comment. Real quick from William Bird. Can we do the William Bird comment real quick? William Bird says, too many fans think every book has to be written to their taste with their views reflected. Funny to see 40-year-old men complaining about books meant for tweens and teens.
Exactly.
Sometimes people get angry. What's your question?
No, I want to ask.
Have you ever copyright claimed a shitty review
I know
in order to strike a channel? Because
No.
I've had that done before on books that I didn't like.
No, however, I did actually have a posted tweet from one Rob Liefeld at my table at San Diego Comic-Con that flat out said, do not bring these to me to sign. And it was great because he legitimately was sitting 14 feet away from me, signing at the Marvel booth, and I'm sitting there with a giant giant 4.5 feet wide by 9 feet tall banner of X Liefelds. So he definitely saw it. He got a copy of the book, but at the same time, he at the beginning told me that he would go ahead and retweet it and talk about it or whatever, and just thought it was going to be funny. And I think it was, good luck, kid. You got this thing coming. And then all of a sudden it actually came out, sold out in 24 hours. And he's sitting there going, oh wow, this really happened. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to actually have a conversation with him about it, but I did give him a copy that I had signed saying, really nice things about the fact that he let me do it, and it's funny if you look on eBay and you look up copies of X Liefelds, it always says like lawsuit incoming or something like that. Like someone's trying to sell the book because they think it'll be pulled because of all that. And it makes me laugh because it's parody. Like one of the ones that I'm writing right now. I've really got to watch how far I go with it, because it could be something where Disney wants to sue me for it. And just, I've always kept the stance of, if I'm writing a parody and someone says that they want to sue me for it, then I did something right. That's how good it must be for them to sit there and say, hey, no, this guy can't do this.
Damn. Well, let me go to Chad. Chad, what was your thoughts? You had something you wanted to say.
No, I wanted Drew to finish his statement. That's all.
Damn, dude, I don't even know what the hell that was. Drew, what filibuster were you on a couple of minutes ago?
I was getting ready to drop information, and that information is basically when you don't read your own reviews, it puts you in an echo chamber sometimes where you can't, understand the way people look at things. And it's good to get some feedback. It's good, especially as a YouTube creator, to check your comments to see what people have to say. But I think that the best process you can really utilize there is to take the things that say that you're a golden god, and then take the things that say that you're the bottom of the barrel, and throw those things away. And the things that sit in the middle are going to be the things that actually reflect where your needs for improvement are, and where the things that you've nailed down really are. So you've got that situation where you can get information from your viewers, from the people who are reading your books, and you don't have to take everything they say that seriously, because you scrape off the bottom, you scrape off the top, and the middle of the sandwich is what you got, man.
Hey, Andy, I was going to ask Comic Man Andy. Andy, have you ever gone into like a store or talked to other comic book people that may have thought, just because you chose the book you chose, they thought you were some kind of noob or something, even though you've been, of course, reading for millions of years? You never had any problems?
No, there's never been any sort of classification like that where I'm at, where if you're in that store, you're a fan of comic books. They don't care what you're buying. You're in that store, supporting the pull list. They're not interested specifically in classifying you based on what you're buying. You're a comic book fan. You're a role-playing fan. You're a Magic fan. You're a tabletop gaming fan. You know what I mean? They don't classify you like that. I'm lucky to have a shop like that where I live.
That's me too. I'm kind of the same way. Wherever I've been, I've never had no troubles or anything like that. Now, saying I may, mispronounce a name or screw up an artist or a writer, and then someone will leave me a comment about it.
Excuse me, legend. You mispronounced that.
Yeah, sometimes they get a little angry, or that because I screwed up or whatnot. But I normally try not to take offense to it. Now, if I'm having a bad day, I may say something snarky back, but that's about all. How about you, Chad? Have you had any of those issues?
Yeah, all the time, dude.
Yeah.
I had a guy make a video about me. I mean, multiple ones.
Yeah, the bunch of trolls.
And I had to call his mom.
Yeah, he did.
At least you had her on speed dial.
But at the end of the day, you got to think about it this way. So Kat Wren made a video about, what was the artist's, the writer's name?
No, it's not. Bring it up.
That's okay. What is it?
The artist and the creator?
Yeah.
Oh, which one? The
Gore?
one that got striked?
Yeah.
That would be Gogar.
Okay. So he didn't like Kat's review. He made a claim, and the video got taken down. Here's the thing: each one of us on this panel talk to each other. The person that I can say criticizes everything he does is Alec from White Whale Comics. The dude is great. He doesn't have the confidence though that he should. His stuff that he writes is fantastic. What he's currently writing is fantastic. But he needs to embrace. He's his own worst enemy when it comes to criticism. Now, we criticize each other all the time off air about what. We say what we can do and improve. I had a conversation with somebody on here 2 weeks ago, and I reamed his ass. And I said to him, "Why don't you talk?" It was 17 minutes, and Andy didn't say a single word.
Oh, Andy!
Wow, you gonna drop that bomb? All right.
Damn, I love Andy too. I just don't even have to hear
And
it.
Andy said stuff, but no, I mean,
Best beard in the business.
But did you not give me feedback too?
Yeah, but feedback is how you thrive, man. I mean, that's how you learn and
grow and you improve. I mean, I'll tell you, this is a true story.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get feedback. If you have that conversation here, it's much better than having that conversation all the way down the trail months later, and then it's like, well, it hasn't been a challenge. Have that conversation here so you can grow.
And well, I totally agree with what you guys are saying there. You know, from a creative aspect of it, it changes a little bit though, because like your idea. So doing creator-owned work, you know, it's something where if I'm taking everybody's feedback, then all of a sudden, like the thing that I always hear is, oh man, you should have JV do this, or hey, Mikey should be doing this, and as soon as I do that, then they think that they deserve some sort of credit for it, you know, or if I change the story from what it is and I break some of the rules that I've set in place as to what those characters are and are not allowed to do, then it totally changes what the original image for that book is, you know, and your streams is exactly the same, you know, like if all of a sudden Drew's not gonna sit there and drop his opinion on something, what's the point of watching his show?
Hell yeah, most
exactly.
Agreed. Drew talk about Mr. Scribbles and Tom King because they like that. I mean, it gets heated. True story, and this is.
I got a true story when you're done, Chad.
So I was playing baseball. If anybody knows me, I played baseball from the time I was little until all the way through high school, college, and beyond. A lot of us are athletes or pretended to be athletes at one time. And I think athletes, it's instilled in us young that we have to condition and we have to train and we got to practice and we get feedback from our coaches, our parents, everybody. So I was 11 years old in an all-star game. My mom was getting mad and she started mouthing off at me when I was batting. She's like, because the guy was, I don't know, for what reason, I wasn't swinging the bat. I was taking the bait. I was just taking a walk. And she was like, swing the bat. I can't believe you swing the bat. And I was a catcher. So I go around and I'm getting my gear on after I got on base and she was just yapping at me. I went up to the umpire and I'm like, sir. And he goes, yeah, what's up, kiddo? And I'm like, that lady's harassing me in the stands. And my mom got thrown out of the Little League. He walked right over and said, damn, you're out of here. You can't harass them. Mm-hmm. But again, though, I mean, we have to be, you know, I mean, not all of us are going to have opinions. And it seems to me a lot of times people get so butthurt. Do you know how many times people have told me put bags on my bag and board my comic books?
Well, I mean, you really should bag and board your comic books. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to. Yeah, look, if you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, that's up to you. I like to keep my babies alive.
Well, I mean, I read them.
Minty, if at all possible, but
hey, you screwing up all those modern issues only makes my modern issues more valuable.
There you go.
Quick true story for you guys, though, is everybody knows that I'm an X-Men guy. Love me some Merry Marvel Mutants, and I really love this Hickman run, and I wanted to review some of these issues, man. And I reviewed that House of X #2 with the Moira issue, and I'll be damned if I drop some inaccurate information about Destiny. And the chat. Oh man, the comments I got, the hate that I got for getting one fact wrong was like, it was extraordinary. And like, and I mean, it didn't bother me, you know, like I didn't let it bother me because you can't be right about everything all the time. I mean, I've been wrong before. It was that time that I thought I was wrong, but really I was right. So I was wrong about being wrong, but that's just me. You can't be an expert on everything. You can't be the all-saying, all-seeing God of nerddom, right? So I grew up with Star Wars as a religion. I'll be damned if I don't get some facts wrong about Star Wars here and there. Mainly because there's so much jumbled in my head about it. But you can't let somebody else's comment about that ruin your day. And I think that we all need to take an effort to be less gatekeepers and bring more positivity to fandoms, because we all love the same thing, man. Somebody else's love for something being different than your love for it can't take away from how much you love that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so incredibly true because, I mean, I'm wrong on a weekly basis. And I love the fact that when people call me out, I'm like, oh, yeah. There's too much happening and too many moving parts to be right 100% of the time. That's not a realistic endeavor. And when somebody calls you out on that, it's an incredibly amazing opportunity to build a relationship with that person. Hey, thanks for that feedback. Yeah, I was certainly wrong. And because when you're talking about something as passionate as this, like we are about comic books, I'm gonna get my facts mixed up every week. So call me out, guys. Because
well, it's like what I tell all my friends. I mean, it's like, sometimes I can't rhyme all the time. You know what I mean? I no one's perfect, and like I always tell Kat Wren, I said we can't all be winners. We all make mistakes, and stuff like that. And then, it is kind of sad and crummy, like William Bird said up above in the chat, 40-year-old people complaining about folks getting stuff wrong. But, as long as in your heart, as long as, like, as Kat always says, and Hippies Collectibles always says, collect what you like, love what you collect. It don't even matter what those other people think,
Yeah, it's funny. I always think back to when I was like a teenager, and that was a heck of a long time ago. And comics were just for certain people back then, is what it felt like. And that really would have killed the industry if it just kept going that way. It really would have been just the same people buying comics and over and over again. It wasn't until you had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies or Jon Favreau directing Iron Man or Chris Nolan and the Batman trilogy that all of a sudden it became okay to truly like all the comics. Obviously you can find your friends that would be part of it and everything else, but it wasn't until that you actually got in there and saw those movies getting made that all of a sudden it was okay to go out and buy a Thor hammer and have it up in the house,
Me and some of my old friends back in the day, and Rob, you probably remember this, back in the day in the 80s and stuff, you collected comics, you was going to get picked on, people going to make fun of you.
God, I was just going to bring up the 80s. Yeah.
Like you say, since those movies came out and everything, it's cool to be a comic collector, right?
Yeah, and that's just it. And that's why, going back all the way to what we were talking about at the beginning, I was asking Kat if this was something that she dealt with because she was a female reader versus just being a comic reader, when she started picking up a new book for the first time. And because like Legend just said, I kind of felt like liking Ninja Turtles back in 87, 88, whatever, it just wasn't looked at as a good thing. It was better to have the right sneakers or to wear Bugle Boy jeans. I don't even think they're a thing anymore,
They are not.
Your members only jacket that you were the only member, it's
okay. All right. This might show a difference in generations, but Bugle Boy jeans, what is that?
It's a
oh my Lord Almighty!
What are Bugle Boy?
It's like you were. Kat, I'm sure you know about Jordache jeans.
Oh, I know about Jordache.
Jordache, yeah. Bugle Boys are kind of like guys jeans.
What are
of that same era?
What did you just say that?
Jordache.
Jordache.
What are Jordache jeans?
Jordache is the one with the horse on it.
So Bugle Boy jeans are to the 80s what Junko jeans were to the 90s.
Junkos.
True, Junko.
I don't know
yes.
Junkos either.
Or zebra pants.
What are Junkos?
Junko jeans?
Jinko jeans. They were the one.
It's like the bottom half of the
Let's really get into it. What the hell is up with that mom cut jean right now?
Oh
my God! Well, there's no you can't even see an ass in that.
I don't rock
Give me
that.
my apple
Chad,
bottom.
I am
I
totally
don't
with you
rock
on that.
that.
Like,
And a piece of fur.
when was it okay to have jeans
You
come up
rock
to
the
here?
mom jean. Mark
You know?
says he rocks the mom jean. I don't
I
rock
wear
the
'em.
mom jean. I do the skinny jean if I do a jean, but it's mostly yoga pants because yoga pants
You
for
know
life.
you got them mama jeans on, girl. Just stand up.
Yoga pants.
Mama Jean
my
figures.
dear.
Mama
Jeans
figures.
figures.
Mom Jean figures. There's a new character for you.
I
How
will
about it? How about if
all.
Mama Cat walks in right now wearing mom?
You know I do yoga pants.
Well, let's
I'm
see.
doing some yoga pants right now. All right.
Turn around.
Yoga
Spin around.
Legend wants more viewers. Go ahead and stand up, Cat.
You gotta
We
shake that
need
thing.
us some subs. Come on,
Close
let's
up
shake
with
that.
cat ass. No.
Sorry, but
Cat
sorry.
ass. No, I'm
Mark,
good.
you got some
There are
good ones
plenty of
on
places
there?
on the internet you can see a cat.
Turn around,
Not
Mark.
naked here.
Dude,
We're supposed to
We
wear
did
pants.
Oh,
we did a 360
no,
blog.
the
on,
boss upstairs said
Opa.
pants were not required for this. So
No, you just can't
Yeah,
stand up.
it's no shirt,
we
no
did
shoes.
a 360
no service.
vlog
It's not no
on,
Just
pants.
to let
on
everybody
Cat
know,
Run
this
Figures
episode of
when we were
Comic is
hiking,
coming at you
where
live, empowered by the Hero Initiative.
Hero Initiative.
There's-
That's
there's-
true.
Yes.
Let's take a Hero Initiative break real quick, fans. If you
You're gonna
want
cut
to
me
help
off?
creators in
Um,
needs,
okay.
well, if you want to show me some of them sexy pants, is your mom at home right now? I'm just kidding.
Sounds like Legend's going to need the comic book legal defense
No,
fund. It's
no.
great.
I was literally saying we did
Next
a
week, brought to
360
you by-
vlog on Cat Run Figures when we were actually out hiking, and there's a
There's
thing,
analytics on
analytics where
you
you can show where you show the hot spots of where people are staring in the video, and over 95% of that video is just people staring at my ass
Damn.
during that video.
I mean,
And this is the Heroes Initiative. They're bringing help to creators.
Help
That's
to
right.
creators, Hero Initiative, doing some great things. I mean, George Perez, Marv Wolfman, the two papas of the Starfire, the Cyborg, and the Raven. If you haven't already, supported the Heroes Initiative in one way, shape, or form, I would highly suggest it because
Potsy,
Yes.
I love the fact that Chris Barrett knows your nickname.
yeah.
It's on my name sleeve here.
Shit, I forgot.
Oh my god. Oh my
I
god.
thought he was like 10 seconds into the future, Ledge.
Yeah, but fans, Hero Initiative, it's a great cause. I mean, and the thing about it is, you don't have to be like an older comic book creator. They also help the young creators. So if young creators need help, they're going to be there to help them when they're in need. Like Carson, talks about his love for. Well, hell, we all love our Mike Turner. I mean, that was one of the best artists. Gone too soon for sure. But I mean, younger folks, they get help. Everyone gets help on there, so it's just a great thing, and it's a great thing to be a part of, and it's a great thing for the Comic Corps to each show that we do live, and we do tons of live shows each week, but we promote Hero Initiative because they need our love, they need our support, so that's what it's all about.
One thing that we have coming to this channel, probably Sunday. I'm going to remove this. Okay. So coming on Sunday with Cat Ren's help and Mark and Drew and Carson.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Carson?
He's at work.
Oh.
He works at 1600.
Nola Nerd in the house.
Anywho, Carson.
So
Carson Sharp.
Nola Nerd, what's up? So we got donated a couple
Nola Nerd.
boxes of some long boxes, and we're gonna
What's up,
do
Nola
kind of a pop-up shop on Sunday and try to sell that, and the funds would be going towards the Hero Initiative. MegaCon. So we'll be finding out more as that comes.
How many long boxes got donated? You were telling me, but I couldn't remember the number. I heard it's a lot of books though.
35.
35 long boxes.
35.
Humongous pop-up shop. Will there be keys? I know a lot of you comic book creators I
went through some.
They're creating the keys, but collectors. Chad, did you see any keys that you thought would
so there's
fans?
So what we got is like first appearance of the Spider Ghost or Spider Gwen, Miles Morales.
Ooh, you got an Ultimate fan, or yeah,
New 52 runs. It's everything from around that era to current.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome. That's going to be a ton of kick-ass stuff, and that's going to be happening sometime on Sunday. It's going to be shared on all the social medias, and man, it's going to be a damn good time. So if you want some books for some great prices to help out the Hero Initiative while we're down at MegaCon doing our thing, make sure you come on by and take a swing. Use the bat because Chad's where it's at. He's going to show you the books that got the looks. You're going to want to do some payments. And like I said, sometimes you can't write them all the time. So payments, whatever. But anyways, good stuff, dude. Totally good stuff. And, this was a kick-ass topic tonight. Do y'all have any more y'all want to say on this topic about, judging others before you really know the whole story? Because things may get gory. Sorry. But yeah, good times, man. Good times.
I think it's just important to support your hobby and also support the folks around you that are also supporting that hobby, man. I think that's part of what makes our partnership with the Hero Initiative so important to me, is that we're supporting not only the hobby itself, but we're supporting the creators of these great books. And the same thing can be done for anybody else that wants to be a collector, be a reader. I just had a conversation tonight with my girlfriend's nephew, who is 10 years old and is super duper into Spider-Man right now. And he wants to know more about the Flash, and he wants to know about more about other comic book characters that he's never even heard of before. So the thing is, you're going to take these people's interests and do your best not to stamp that flame out. Foster it, man. You got to feed the flame. You got to make sure that this industry keeps on going.
More,
right? Yeah. If we got more big time fans, man, there's going to be more books coming out, which is more for us to enjoy as the fans that we are already. The more people we can get in, the more people, the better.
We need Jonah Hex fans.
Just to add on to what Drew Manchu was saying. Basically, if these comics keep blowing up, if these things keep selling, I mean, money talks.
Hell yeah.
And let's
face
it. How many years ago was it that we had a failed Birds of Prey TV series? Now we have Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey, the movie, coming out next month. People, come on now.
Next week.
And let's be honest here. Money talks, and if it hadn't have been certain people getting interested, and a lot of people saying, "Hey, I would like to see more female characters in this going on. We would like to see more of this. We'd like to see more of that," it wouldn't happen. I mean, we wouldn't have this film coming out next month. Let's be honest. Money talks 100%. Let's not shame certain fans if they are new or whatever. I mean, let's all just love the fact that comics are fantastic, and the characters throughout are pretty freaking fantastic. And also, I don't know if it was Legend. I don't know if it was Chad, but they posted the people on the panel with the beards are the best comic book people. Yeah. Don't have a beard right here. But anyhow.
Oh, so cool, though. Chad, what do you think, man?
I don't know.
The TV show was horrible, Scott Evans. The TV show was horrible.
And it had Mark Hamill's voice on there a little bit, didn't it?
That was really bad writing and creating, though. That was not the actors at all. That was everyone else involved.
I'll still take some Dina Meyer.
I've got another question, and I was watching a video earlier today. And Potsy, do you think there's a potential for another fall, like right after the death of Superman.
So you mean overloading with variant covers and
a market crash.
Oh God!
I think that the market is actually better suited to not have that. At this point, but I will tell you there are some big things that I think really do hurt the industry. I think 20 pages of comics for $5 is way too little substance for way too much money. I think decompression of story so that you're taking a two issue thing and turning it into 6 or 8 issues just so that you're writing for the trade is something that is something that the industry really needs to get away from. Like if you miss number 1 of a book and it's a 6-issue story, are you going to buy number 2? The answer is no. So there are some things that really can hurt the industry, Chad, like variant covers. Is there a fine line where it's okay to have this many? Because I can tell you from being a small time creator, we typically put 3 to 4 covers on a book, and we actually see orders for each of those 4 covers. And then as an incentive for retailers to pick up like 5 copies or whatever, we do one of those covers as a retailer incentive so that they can make back their money, because Junior High Horrors number 5, I believe, with the Ghost Rider cover, that was a retailer incentive, and suddenly that retailer incentive is going for $15 online because it got ordered less than everything else, because it had to be, you had to get 5 copies to get 1, but it was done so that the retailers would get something in the process, right? But the comics that have like 22 covers, sure, there's always one that I really want, but as much as I want the black and white penciled Jim Lee version that's 1 in 500, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on it. I'm just not going to do it. So forcing people to do that kind of stuff is definitely going to hurt the industry. But I think if they get away from decompression of stories, if they actually give you enough substance per issue, and this is why the trade market actually does really well in certain shops is the fact that you're getting the full story and you're getting an added discount for the amount of pages that you're buying. So I think if the industry keeps going the way that it's going, you could have another market crash. I think that there is stuff built into it. Luckily, I'm actually part of a Facebook group that's retailers and creators or publishers, and they kind of pass ideas back and forth to each other. So it allows me to see like what the retailers are thinking, because obviously this is a publisher, retailer, consumer market. There's always that 3 parties. Technically there's 4, because you have Diamond in the middle of it, which if the market crashes, it's going to be because Diamond crashes.
Damn, Diamond, man. What Drew had his hand up, and I want to get to this because we also got some love from Nola Nerd for Drew.
Oh man, I love Nolan Nerd, man. Daniel's good dude. We connected over some bad news for both of us, and we were literally both combined our love for comics and became friends over it. So that's definitely something that I love about this community. Is we lean on each other and we share our nerddom. And back to the original topic at hand, that's a beautiful thing when we can inspire others to get into the things that we love and share that love, which is great. Back to what Potsy was saying, though, I don't think that variants, incentive variants, are detrimental to retailers. What I think is that irresponsible retailing, it takes place because of these incentive variants.
Yeah.
I'm more apt to buy 3 copies of 1 issue if there are hot covers, and they don't even have to be, they could be cover price variants that aren't going to pop in value, but if they're pretty, man, I'm more apt to buy 3 copies of 1 book. That right there is good for retailers, and it's good for publishers. There's nothing wrong with that. The retailer incentives, it's retailers who are stretching themselves too far to get the hot book when they're not going to sell enough of the regular covers to make it worth their investment. And that's irresponsible retail. And I think that has more to do with these comic book retailers failing than publishers do. The publishers offer you a product that you can buy and sell to consumers, and it's not their responsibility. Oh, but I'm not going to get the hot cover. That's not Marvel's responsibility. You know, if you don't have the foot traffic coming through your store to sell these copies, don't order them. For the love of God, don't order them. Oh, somebody really, really wants that cover, then you better jack that price up, man. You better jack that price up to make sure it's worth your while ordering those books. But, you know, the best retailers adapt with the market. The best retailers diversify their offerings. And something as simple as variant covers, I hear it all the time online. People want to be, oh, well, Marvel, here they come with more variant covers. They don't care about the retailers. They're offering you more products to sell. They obviously care about the retailers. Without the retailers, they don't sell books. So it's important to everybody to get along within the system. And the more retailer incentives you have, the better for the retailers, in my opinion. Not everybody qualifies. Okay, boost your sales, man. You want them? Boost your sales.
She just give us some chops down there. Give it the chops, Hawkeye style.
Drew, you're absolutely right. I mean, and like I said, coming from
I love hearing that, Potsy. Can you say that again for the people who might not
No, we're going to edit that out.
All right. All right.
But I do think I think you are right when you say that smart retailing is going to keep the market going. I think, but to answer your, just one more point to your question initially, Chad, was do we think that the industry is going to go down in flames again? And I don't think so because it's now part of pop culture.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference is that comics are cool. Or at least the characters in said comics are cool. I think that the industry still. I think that Marvel Comics made some big mistakes when Iron Man came out and suddenly they made Iron Man a girl. Like a guy watching, or a guy, girl, whatever, watching Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man for the very first time, walking into a comic book store and trying to buy Iron Man, and Iron Man's not Iron Man to them. It dissipates that heat that you actually get from it. I think that you could easily see that from a video game aspect when Square Enix showed the Marvel Avengers game for the first time, and Tony Stark didn't look like Robert Downey Jr. and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't like the way it looks." Except as comic fans, we've grown to accept that every artist isn't going to have the same exact take on these characters, and because of that, as comic fans, we looked at it and went, "Oh, that's the Avengers game I want to play." So it got two different reactions, and I think now Square is sitting there going, "Oh man, we need to try to make those characters look more like what they expect." But the fact is that as comic fans, if this game is made for the comic fans, it just has to look like what you expect Iron Man to look like in a video game.
Yeah, that's true.
I fully agree with that, because personally, like, all of the comics that you're reading now, like all of the books that you're checking out now, they're not going to sync up with the movies that you're watching now. So the newest movies, they're anywhere from 2 to 5 years ago in the comics. Now, everything that you're reading is completely different. You're reading things where Wolverine is a female, where Iron Man was at one point a female. This person, Doctor Strange in the movie is Doctor Strange, where it was Loki for a period of time.
Yep.
Comics definitely have a shelf life compared to the films, and they're moving things around,
shaking things up.
100%.
Does Bobby Drake like guys? Does Bobby Drake like girls?
100%.
But
they're moving
you
things
gotta
around.
change it
They're
up a
changing
little bit.
as they go. And I think that's the thing that's really surprising a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like at my work, a lot of the people, when whenever I reference something that's currently going on in comics, they'll look at me and I'll see that like glazed over look for a second.
They're like,
and
what
then
does
they'll
Gone Too
blink.
Soon mean?
And then you're like, you're not a real fan, are you?
And I'll have to respond. I will have to respond to that and explain myself. For example, I said "gone too soon" about a worker that we had trained for, that my assistant and I had trained for a day and a half at work, and she had done a great job. She decided not to come back to the company, unfortunately. Yeah. And I literally, without even thinking, said like, oh yeah, well, Angelique is gone too soon. And it was the head of the warehouse and her right hand looking at me, and they're like, what? And I looked over and my assistant was literally like, what? And I was like, oh yeah. So I tried to explain "gone too soon," the Legends catchphrase, and that did not go over well. And I was finally like, I finally just admitted that that's a nerd thing. Never mind. You're not going to get it. It's
too
fine.
bad it wasn't Luke's right hand, because literally it was gone too soon, right?
It was very gone too soon. But definitely there, I would highly say there was a disconnect between what is currently going on in the films and just in the television series as a whole versus what's currently going on in the comics. Because I had someone who went to their local LCS, they got the most recent issue of Avengers, and they're like, this isn't Endgame. I'm like, yeah, Endgame happened forever ago. And I was trying to explain to them the difference between the timeline.
What the
Mark's
hell?
burning himself, apparently. I was trying to explain, why are you burning yourself? Why?
It's like porridge, man.
Why when I'm in the middle of a
Don't
conversation?
eat an adult's porridge, brother.
He's burning himself with potatoes, of all things. They're seasoned potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
I know, exactly.
He has to
But I was trying to explain. the timeline difference between what's going on in the films versus what's going on in the comics. And this individual is like, well, why did they stick this in the films if it's not going on in the comics right now? I was like, because this happened and it was very well received, and it's something that's very highly regarded in the world of comics. And this worker didn't exactly like that answer.
It all moves so fast too. So
it does.
I talked about my girlfriend's nephew, who I had a couple conversations with. This young lad, he collects Marvel Legends and he likes comic books. And I'm like, oh man, I could talk to this 10-year-old all day long. He said something, I can't remember what character he was referencing. I think it might have been a Spider-Man Peter Parker versus Miles Morales question. And he's like, well, he was telling his little brother that Miles was Peter's black son. And I was like, yeah, okay, go with that. Because there's a lot to explain as to how these stories evolve, and comics is outside of TV and movies, right? Which are high budget, which are, long-term investments for these studios. They take a long time to make, especially with all the CG that goes into them. You're talking about a script to screen 5 to 7 year experience for some of these movies, whereas comics is a lot more of an experimental platform. It's a medium that allows you to try different things with story, and since it's episodic in its own way, you can always bring it back to what it was. And there's a great thing about what the hell is that? There's a great deal of talk about creators when they finish a run putting the toys back in the box, and you have the ability to do that with comics. Things come full circle, they come back to the way they were, but a lot of times they're very experimental. Characters change, costumes change. There's got to be a hook to get people in there. So you never know exactly what's going on.
Things change in the world of comics.
True.
Things change.
What are you drinking there? Is that a duck fart?
No, that is a.
Oh my God, no, Mark. What is this?
Wait, what's
It's
it?
a-
It's a dog
Where's
fart.
Carson?
Okay.
What is this?
This is a play off of a
Where's Carson?
B-52, but I don't have the last ingredient, so I have Kahlua.
Don't tell him the
Bailey's
exact.
Kahlua.
Don't tell him the exact.
What's it called?
Bailey's Kahlua and what?
Save it for the Mark BKR.
Don't
spill it! Don't spill it!
Creme de menthe.
BKR behind the bar, my dears. We are taste
It's peanut-
testing all of. Shut up.
Oh, the peanut
All
butter.
of this nonsense. If you would like to know the exact recipe, check out the BKR behind the bar video when it goes live. Hashtag subscribe to the Catherine Figures. Hashtag. This is what, my 6th of this today.
I don't know,
But
we need.
this
Actually,
is
you know what's really sad
fantastic.
is we actually bought brand new bottles and we actually almost finished them.
This
So-
is fantastic.
So Bailey's Kahlua and Crown Royal is actually known as a duck fart, and
Yes.
that's why I thought. And it's
That looks
layered
very
just-
similar. I think it's
This is
Bailey's
not
Kahlua and peanut butter whiskey.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's yeah.
Well, real
But
quick, let's go around the horn real fast because we are running kind of long here.
But hey, you know what? We can't shout out that stuff anymore. Remember?
Yeah. Well, what we're gonna do? So you don't want to do individual channels. We're just gonna go down the line and save stuff for another time. Well, I am gonna shout one guy out, Mr. Potsy. Where can everyone find you, my friend?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, both at Rob Potchak. On the Twitter, just Potchak, so Potchak. You can see it on the screen. You can find me at your local comic shops. If they didn't order issue number 8 of Junior High Horrors, which came out in December, there is the Junior High Horrors April Fool's Day special coming up in March. It goes ahead and is kind of like a take on Scooby-Doo meets Scream and Psycho. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's also a backup story drawn by me in it that lets them go to Twin Peaks.
Donut shop.
What's that?
Twin Peaks Donut Shop.
Yes, they go to the Twin Peaks Donut Shop.
Come on, guys.
They drink some dang fine coffee.
How about I called Rob about 2 weeks ago when I was in the LCS, and there was a variant of Junior High behind the counter, and I was like, I know that dude.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah.
They're like, no, you don't. I said, watch. I'll call. He usually is. The one time you hit the FU button, I was like, you son of a bitch, made me look at your life.
So after that, Legend, I've got probably one or two more Junior High Horrors books this year. We're trying to do a little bit larger sized and not as often, doing specials. So my plan is to do a back to school special and the possible Halloween Comic Fest book again this year.
Awesome.
May introduce a foreign exchange student in the in that if it actually gets off the ground. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm editing the D Ward by Billy Parker, who was the anchor colorist letterer of Junior High Horrors. I'm also now the editor on Ninjas and Robots by Eric Klaus. This one is in previews right now. If you haven't seen it, it looks amazing. Eric is a Kubert School graduate. Who is finally getting this book out there. It's very, very stylized. He's definitely influenced by guys like Kevin Eastman and Jim Mahfood. So if you like those creators, you should check it out. After that, I'm talking to another couple creators about some other stuff. I have 2 books in the works. I've got Immortal coming back. If you guys hadn't actually checked out my first miniseries, it's basically Highlander meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer with superpowers.
Damn.
I don't know that, guys.
So that one is coming back with the artist of Ex Liefeld's Rob Nikolakakis. And then I've got one that I haven't announced yet. That's kind of near and dear to me. I think it's going to be awesome. that one, unfortunately, the artist actually just had a major injury happen. He ripped the bicep off the bone on his drawing arm, so he's having surgery. So hopefully he comes out of this better than ever. Kind of like that movie Rookie of the Year, where the kid's able to just launch like million miles an hour.
Man, don't worry, he'll be fine.
But he actually he's been in good spirits so far, and the stuff I've seen from it is absolutely tremendous. And doing the comic book circuit, Legend. So doing shop signings and stuff. I've got a shop in St. Louis that actually wants to fly me up and do a signing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've got Carolina Fear Fest, a horror convention in Raleigh that I'm actually going to be at. I've got Heroes Con.
Perfect crossover for you there.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we did it. I don't know if I ever told this story on the Comic Corps, but another creator actually told me that as a comic creator, you should try to figure out any way you can to get outside of the four walls of a comic shop. Mm-hmm. So horror conventions just made sense. Been trying to get into what's it called? There's a big one in Charlotte that unfortunately I wasn't able to get into this year. But and then besides those conventions, San Diego Comic-Con, as far as I know, I will be at the Keen Spot booth, directly between Marvel and IDW. So anybody that wants to come out, say hi. I will be there. And I heard you guys talking about MegaCon with the Hero Initiative. That sounds like a pretty fun show. So maybe we make that happen. I might have to start a GoFundMe for it, but
get down to Florida, my friend. But Potsy, man, it is always great having you on here on the Comic Corps and just hanging out with you. And we wish you nothing but the best, because we know you're full of success. And of course, let me just give one last little shout out to the chat. Thank y'all all so much for watching the Comic Corps tonight. You'll catch the Comic Corps Sunday, right, Chad? Is it Sunday?
Sunday.
And Sunday, make sure
Sunday Funday, everyone.
Sunday Funday is going to be the pop-up shop you're not going to want to miss, because you're going to have some kick-ass books, and, man, it's going to be a damn good time. And speaking of time, folks, we are running out of time. So for all these folks here on the panel tonight, and the Comic Corps, making sure, helping the Hero Initiative, helping those creators in need, because the Comic Corps is powered by the Hero Initiative. And for the Comic Corps, for the Hero Initiative, and for poor old Marty Jannetty. Oh, Marty partied too much. And
bye, guys.
Snooker partied too much too. This is the Great Legend saying peace out. God bless.
Comic